Hey, everybody, it is Sandra D. Thanks for being here today. I have somebody really special that I want to bring to you now. You know that I am a communication and leadership coach. I work both with people, helping them get on camera and conquer the stage and keynote at conferences. But the other half of my business is working in a nature-based way, coaching alongside horses. So that equine assisted coaching is the second half of what I do. So today I have somebody that kind of crosses both of these as well. She's a strategic thinker, but she also is very much in tune with a lot of the soft skills that we as hard driven entrepreneurs will sometimes put aside, and we lose contact with who we are, who our actual strengths are. And at this particular time, I know a lot of us are having to kind of, the word is pivot, that some people hate, but it is what we have to do. So at any time that you have to make those decisions of how you can change what you're doing to maybe be better or more fitting for you, or you're forced to, as in the case of some people with this current situation, really change what you're doing or start over. How do you do that and have the confidence to do that? So I want to introduce you to Cristy Nix and bring her on right now. Hello, Cristy.
Hello.
So Cristy is a highly intuitive business alignment coach with the gift for helping business women embrace who they are and how they work for a more soul satisfying and successful business without compromise. I like that so much. Now, you guys, I will be honest with you, Cristy is, I would say, one of my coaches. And if you follow me at all, you know that I'm a big fan of having not just one coach, but multiple coaches for your life. And Cristy has really been able to shed an incredible amount of light on things to help me understand why the times that it feels like you are pushing, it's the wrong thing.
It is so the wrong thing.
I suffered for years before God finally said, Cristy, go help her. And there she was. And like a light bulb that went off in my head. I'm like, oh my gosh, that makes total sense. So if you are looking to, as I was saying, Cristy, people now are, especially with the financial climate where it is, they're looking to maybe they've lost their job or their opportunity or their business is closed. So they could be starting over, pivoting what they're doing and trying to make these decisions. And it can be a scary thing, don't you think?
Yeah, it can be super scary. I mean, because it's so much, you know, we're told to go out and do and make it happen and push, right? In order to be in control of what we're putting out into the world. And that pushing is actually what creates a lot of stress on our bodies, burnout, and really draining ourselves of what is, you know, the magic in us. So I find that when we are given a unique opportunity like this particular situation is, it's like, okay, so let's look at it more half full. What are you pulled to do? Because a lot of the times we are pushed so much that we lose connection with that core self. And we totally forget that, oh my gosh, I actually know what I've always wanted to do. And I really feel like this might be the time for me to do it. So that little bit of hope, that little bit of, that pull is what we want to connect to and really follow those little signs that pop up, and really stay connected to that particular energy, because that makes life so much easier. It'll bring things to you faster.
Little signs. What do you mean by that?
By signs. So, there's like a list. So have you ever had a day where you wake up and everything just seems to flow from one thing to the next? Oh, I need to go by the bank. You get into the car line and, oh my gosh, I'm the first one through. You drive up to, you know, the grocery store and you park up front and you get in, they have everything you need and it's all on sale. And now we're heading out of the grocery store 5 minutes. So, I mean, it's that kind of date where, oh, I need to talk to so-and-so. And then they call you.
Yes.
And they're totally like, I just need to talk to you about this. I was like, oh, you're on my list of people to call today. So that is being in alignment. That is you allowing basically spirit to bring to you everything that you're wanting, that you're in alignment with, you need. And trusting that is very hard. But those signs typically are, really simple things, hearing the same song on the radio all the time, and it totally changes your mood to where you're like, ooh, I'm in a good place, and the same message over and over again. Like you have several different people say the same thing to you all day, you know, those little signs, those are little green flags, if you want to think of them that way, like hitting all green lights. Same idea.
Right. So, but it is hard to trust that because you stop and you think we're living in a fantasy world, right?
That, and we're used to being in control of everything, to where we're expecting that the only way to create what we want is to physically put our energy out into the world in the way we think we're meant to be doing it.
Yes.
And one of the modalities that I teach,
I'm sorry, I just wanted, because we just talked about this with a friend a few minutes ago, that putting things out in the world the way we think we should be doing it, because perhaps we're following somebody, mentoring somebody, but it's not exactly how we should be working. But we're following what they do.
And human design is one of the modalities that I use that talks about how your brain, your mind is not where you're supposed to be making decisions. That's where all the information comes in and you assess it. However, what really truly guides you is that gut instinct, that core sacral.
Is that intuition?
And it shows up as intuition. So that is an internal guidance system that helps you to trust that if this doesn't feel right, you're not supposed to be doing it. If you're pushing or feel like you're being made to do something, maybe even out of obligation, or it's a have to, not a real want to, if it doesn't excite you, then you shouldn't be doing it. However, we're also taught that, if we don't put it out there, we won't create anything substantial. If we don't work really hard, we're not going to create something that, we've actually earned. When in truth, if we're responding to what's showing up outside of us and going, oh, look, I want to do this. Oh, look, these people are showing up. Exactly what I want to do. I've always wanted to do this. And next thing I know, I have someone, show up in my email feed saying, hey, I've always wanted to ask you about this. Would you mind, sharing this with me? And next thing you know, you're in front of a national audience on telecom, doing whatever and talking about this one topic you just love. And it's that energy and putting yourself in that space that feeds this lack of stress and this natural alignment with what you're really here to do.
Yeah, it's hard to sometimes even imagine that, because we do live in this world of stress where we tend to, I now realize, make bad decisions for ourselves because we don't have
all the time
the capacity to actually think of anything other than the stress, right?
Exactly.
So you have 7 things, I believe.
Yeah, I have So I have a list of 7 things that are signs that there's something in you or something around you that needs to change.
Okay.
It's signs that you're out of alignment. Okay.
Okay.
So the first one is feeling really anxious or unsettled.
Well, a lot of people feel that right now.
I know. It's like someone just totally flipped your apple cart. You're feeling a little anxious, not knowing where things are going to come from.
Right. Okay.
So that's one of them. Another one is a sense that something is off. Have you ever had that particular feeling to where you're like, something just doesn't feel right? Can't quite put my finger on it, but there's something off. That's just another sign that there is something wrong in the force. And to heads up. Another thing is that you're really exhausted or feel tired all the time.
Yes.
Fatigue, especially adrenal fatigue, which is zapped again by going uphill and pushing. Another sign is being overwhelmed and just inundated with things that you don't know what to do. It's not clear to you which direction you need to go. That's a sign that things are none of them might be the right thing. Another sign is feeling really restless, and to the point where no matter how much working out you do, you still cannot seem to calm down.
I thought that was just the way I was programmed.
Well, I mean, some of us, because I know you're a generator, so we need to burn through all of our energy before we sleep. So you have the sacral energy to do anything you want, as long as you love it. If you don't love it, you're going to be drained and tired. Sure. So yeah, that's another conversation. Okay. And then another thing, you don't know what lights you up anymore. You've gotten away from what you really loved when you were younger.
Yes.
Things you just couldn't live without. And for whatever reason, you push them to the side. You're no longer, you're kind of sacrificing yourself and just not allowing yourself to have that self-indulgence now, which really is essential to your way of being.
Yeah.
And then the final one is feeling really numbed out to current reality, which is like you are so focused, nothing else is penetrating your world.
Yeah.
And you've lost your balance, really.
Yeah. Is that when you have people that are close to you going, where are you? Or you're all about business. You're never, that kind of thing.
You're never here, even when you're here.
Right.
And that's a lot of it is, or ignoring how you feel because you need to stay focused on getting this done.
Yes.
And making your living and making your mark and everything.
So I think is that 7?
That's 7. Mm-hmm.
I think some of those, I see those so often particularly the women that I work with.
Yes.
Because they're all, really most of them are entrepreneur minded. And they do get to that. And they do come to me and say, my relationships are suffering, which is the last point that you brought up. That's a big sign. And I've been one of those people whose adrenals have been shot. And, it's a hard lesson to learn when you get sick. Mm-hmm. A very hard lesson to learn. And I don't recommend anybody do that. So listen to what Cristy is saying.
Yeah. We've all been there, done that. And it's like your physical body is the last thing. It's like your last piece of self where everything lands. So you might get a migraine headache. You might have, chronic aches. You might, feel every storm that comes down the pike. There's certain things that do affect your body directly. And it's your body saying, whoa. This is not working for me.
Right.
To the point where you could be seriously sick.
It will slow you down one way or the other.
Yep.
Yeah.
You will pay attention one way or the other.
Yes, exactly.
Totally.
So it's good to be able to recognize those 7 things that you just said. Now, on the other side of that, so it has to be the opposite. There has to be things, and you mentioned a few, to know when things are going right. And I actually had a comparison when you were talking about, you wish that you would speak on this topic, and all of a sudden it seemed like left field. Somebody gives you the opportunity to do so.
Right.
I actually have a client that was expected to open up on day 1 of South by Southwest, and of course was canceled due to the pandemic. Yeah. But she was a perfect example of that. It was something that was kind of related to what she'd been doing for decades in her work, but it was something very kind of off left field. And she kind of wanted to talk about it. She always wanted to, she wasn't a speaker. And yet things kept happening, pointing in that direction. And sure enough, she got the opportunity to do so. And hopefully, who knows what's going to happen with all the speakers that were expected to do conferences, which are now rescheduled, canceled. I hope everybody gets the opportunity again. But it was a great accomplishment for her. It was very, very cool. And, in the Christian way of thinking too, we have to realize that God has ways of putting people in your path that can have doors for you that you would have no idea. And if you think back, if you follow that open door, and you say, well, that just might be kind of fun. Let's go check that out. Because I've always wanted to know more about XYZ. I've always wanted to go here or learn about this, and then actually find that things are opening up for you in that way. There are times that I can look back in my life and think, wow, there's just no way that I could have ever accomplished this. But I did exactly what you're saying. And we do get to the point where maybe we become skeptical, we lose contact with who we are, is passionate, what lights us up. That's one of my phrases I use a lot. So I think this is so valuable. How do you know then if you are in alignment? Other than the fact that things are opening, is there something else?
Yeah, sorry, I got a kitty.
I saw the tail come up.
Right, I know. So let's see. So one of them is that it feels like, everything's flowing from one thing to the next. You feel like no resistance, which means that you're not being challenged or anything. Nothing feels hard. Everything feels very graceful and easy. They're just kind of connected and flowing from one thing to the next. That's a confirmation that they're in alignment, that you're responding to the right things, right? Things that are correct for you. And again, hearing the same message over and over, like in a song, or seeing the same billboard. It's like they have 50 of the same billboard all over town, and you just keep resonating with that particular one today for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing how, but they're not there tomorrow. I don't know what's going on with that. I mean, these are all, divine timing. Timing is everything, right? Being in the right place at the right time is the goal.
Yeah.
For grace and ease. And it's amazing in manifesting anything, creating anything, attracting anything. It's that timing. And so another sign that you're in the flow and you're connected and you're in alignment is that little things start just coming about, and you start manifesting or attracting, the things that you've always wanted to know more about, like you said, or you haven't talked to this person in a really long time, and then they tell you they have this connection that they want to introduce you to, which is going to open up a whole new stream that you didn't even know was there. It's those kind of little things that just keep popping up. And if it feels good, do it. If it doesn't feel good, it's not the right time. And it doesn't mean no forever. It just means no for right now.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Okay.
So not today necessarily, but maybe tomorrow. And then, so inspired ideas, like all of a sudden you're just getting, oh my gosh, this would be so great. I'd love to do this. I'd love to do this. I should talk to so-and-so. So all of a sudden you've got inspired ideas. You feel like nothing, you just can't do wrong. Everything's just flowing. You just can't seem to write enough down. And it's like nonstop download. It's creative ideas like crazy. That's another sign that you're flowing in the correct direction.
I know people that have written a book when they've gotten into that state of mind and gone with it. Like on a plane. One guy wrote it on a plane and he shared it with us when he got back. We're like, this is fantastic. But he literally said, I have this idea, and just started writing it. And on one flight, he wrote this entire book, which is crazy.
I know, it's insane. I channeled a 320-page book in 48 hours. It's doable.
Wow.
Crazy, but doable.
Yeah.
Another way to feel like you're totally in alignment is that, like you said, people just start showing up. You feel supported by people you didn't even think would support you doing that. A lot of the times, the reason why we don't step forward into something we're pulled to do is because we fear people are going to throw tomatoes at us. The whole rotten tomato syndrome, or be judged as crazy or not worthy, or not an authority on whatever we're talking about. And so that fear is often what I call gremlins, and they're supposed to keep you safe, but really they're green lights, because whenever you get a gremlin popping up going, ooh, maybe you shouldn't do this. Like, I don't know if this is such a great idea, because, they could hate you on the other side of this. It's actually a green light that you need to be moving forward, because the only reason why that gremlin would show up is if you are pushing your boundaries, if you are pushing forward with something in new territory. That's the only time that stay safe gremlin would come up. So
it's pushing the comfort zone, which is where all the good stuff happens anyway.
Right, exactly. So I'd rather you move into the zone of moving forward than the couch. So but they're gremlins.
There's also something too that I almost feel like I have to point out, that just because you're in alignment with what you're doing, how you designed your business, right? As Cristy, you helped me with that. I had designed my business in one way because I had a coach that said, do this. And it felt awful. Yeah. And we made some changes, and I'm like, oh, that feels so much better. And then, as I was making the change to do this, as I was making this change, I'm getting the grace of having the support financially coming from an area that I had not even put attention to. Right. So that's part of that flow. But I think it's important to note that even if you are creating something that's in alignment, there are still going to be pieces of a business that aren't going to light you up, that you have to do. Right. We're not saying that it's all going to be completely effortless. Right.
Well, but you also, yes, in that idealism, you're not going to want to do everything in your business. Not all of it's going to line up. Like, accounting is not my favorite thing. And so I found that people just show up and say, hey, can I help you with this? Or you generate the income. And it's almost like, okay, so if, talking to your higher self or your intuitive self, your true self, It's almost like, okay, so if I'm really meant to have this business, then I would like the support of being able to financially have someone handle this for me and allow that financial support to come in, however it's meant to. Don't dog-ear it into a little piece that it has to come in this particular shape and form. Allow it to just show up, so that you can do what you do best, right?
Yeah.
And allow people and celebrate their, amazingness at doing accounting and seeing all those numbers, and they, it lights them up, like knock yourself out. So
That's not me either.
yeah, exactly. So it's like, but by putting it out there and asking for the support in order to, support someone else.
Yes.
It's amazing how fast it comes in.
Oh my God. We need it. Can I share a quick story on that?
Yeah.
I might have told you this about my accountant and how okay.
Oh,
I was speaking and I was on stage, and I was kind of making an offer from the stage, which in the beginning, that was all I did. Part of the not being in alignment, doing what everybody else was doing. I was constantly pitching from the stage, and I really changed that. But at this time I had an offer that I put out, and I was offering a discount to this particular group, and it required math. And at one point I kind of stumbled over, I said, it's 40% off or whatever it was. And somebody says, well, what is that? And the monthly payments or something. And I I said, I'm sorry, I was told there'd be no math. And they kind of laughed. And I said, I'm sorry, I don't love numbers. I mean, who loves numbers? And this little tiny hand goes up in the front row. And I had just been saying to my husband that we need to get a new accountant because we were frustrated. And there I am speaking and making this joke, and this little hand goes up in the front row. And I go, what do you do? And she said, I'm an accountant. I said, you're my accountant. And she is to this day. Yes. She's my CPA. And it's because she was there and the door was open, and and literally I love doing that, and it does. It lights her up.
Yeah.
God bless you. Yeah. Not my thing.
No.
Not my thing.
No.
Show up, as you said, be prepared that it will show up in a way that you do not think. You may think, I need to find a CPA, so I'm going to schedule 12 meetings with different CPAs and sit down and interview them. And it could just be the little hand goes up in the front row of a place where you're speaking.
Right, exactly. I mean, why make more work for yourself?
Yeah.
When Spirit's going to bring it to you, you just have to pay attention. And that's one of the biggest things I see with my clients is that they set intentions and they ask and they have all this great energy and responding. However, we're not paying attention to what's showing up and going, oh, let's do that.
Yeah, I actually talk to that. I talk about that a lot, that you have to be able to receive, and it may not come in the way that you think it's going to come. Yeah. So you have to pay attention to that.
Oh, you have to pay attention to that.
Women in particular, do you think women in particular have a hard time receiving in general?
Yes, I think so. Just because, especially if they're entrepreneurs, I find that that flavor of mentality and mindset tends to be very independent and feels like we can do it all. And we probably can, but we shouldn't. So just because you can doesn't mean you should, right? Yeah. So, I mean, because I could do my accounting, I realized that it is not my forte. And so that needs to be celebrating the professional over there. And as a mom, and I know with you running the ranch and everything, I mean, we're doing it all the time. And it's very hard for us to go, okay, you know what? It's not going to make me feel worse about myself to get some support. And so allowing support to show up in a way that feels good is a different perspective than, oh, I have to find, someone to cover this for me kind of mentality. So, but yeah, I do find that a lot of women have a problem with self-care, taking care of themselves. It's not a priority.
Or delegating. Those are the two things, self-care and delegating. And
delegating. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So if you have somebody that shows up, how do you know that that's the right, is this like the gut check, the intuition? Talk to us a little bit about how intuition shows up for different people.
Oh, wow. Okay. So we are all wired a little differently for intuition, depending on really, I keep going back to our human design charts, but but intuition will show up in different ways. Some people, it's almost like you have a bullshit meter. Have you ever walked to somebody and say, oh my gosh, you are not telling me the truth? I can totally hear it in your voice that you're not telling me the truth. And there are ways that we perceive and can read people that's more on a higher level than just physically seeing them or being in their energy even. So a lot of the times someone will feel off. I want you to pay attention to if you're talking to someone and you just get along like gangbusters and you feel like they get you and they see really what you're wanting from them, but also that they articulate it back to you in a way that's clear and concise to where it's obvious they know what they're talking about, and they fully support you and accept you for who you are. And instead of changing a bunch of things, they're looking to maybe simplify and support you, not take it over. That's a different prospect. And so different support comes in different ways. And so support, I want you to go with what feels right. Bottom line, don't think about it too much, because a lot of the times we will talk ourselves out of the most amazing things. Because we can't seem to wrap our mind around how lucky we are. Like we don't deserve, someone so amazing.
That's a big one. The I'm not worthy statement, which pops up for a lot of
people. My gosh, yes.
It's a hard one to get rid of.
I'm sorry?
It's a hard one to get rid of for some.
It is. It's hard to detach from that limiting belief. There's quite a few. There's like a core 5 or 7 that are really difficult. Because they're like rooted in we're conditioned at a very young age to believe that. And so, it's hard to unplug from that.
It is.
But so trusting your instincts and knowing that if you're doubting it, you might need to sleep on it. And in the morning, you're still not gung ho. Yes, this feels right. Don't do it.
Exactly.
If in doubt, don't. Right.
Yeah. And we talk about that sense of, hey, something's not right is what we pick up on when we're with people, but we can see it with the horses. If I have somebody that isn't really, in alignment or congruent with what they're saying inside, if they're saying I am confident and they're really not, that horse will not pay attention to them. And if they just get to the point where like, okay, I'm trying to be confident, that will change the energy between them and their horse equine coaching partner pretty darn quick. And we do the same thing as human beings, right? So CristyNix.com. I just put that up there on the screen. Is that the best way for people to get a hold of you? And you have some cool stuff on there. You've got some quizzes and things that people can learn more about themselves on.
Right, exactly. And also how to run your human design chart if you're interested in knowing how you're wired to make decisions in a more aligned way. That's on there too. But some fun little quizzes on how to level up, how to know you're in alignment. It's also an intuitive quiz down there. So a lot of things to help you learn more about yourself. Because the more you know, the better off you'll be, and the easier any kind of transition will be.
Yeah, I love that. And we do, unfortunately, have to make some changes, a lot of us now. And we have to, we do have the added stress where a lot of people in the first portion of this year had a large drop in revenue and income and the ability to bring it in, you know. So anytime that something like that happens, any financial crisis of any kind, we do kind of get into that fear thinking. And it's really important to stay out of that, as hard as that may be. Understanding how you read things, what your strengths are, and how you can move forward and design something for yourself and do it strategically is the best thing that you can do. So go check out Cristy's tools at CristyNix.com. And I'm going to let you go, Cristy, because I know it's still the middle of our hardcore work day here. We have a lot that we need to get done. And your cat wants your attention.
My kids keep coming up the back going, it's like stage whisper, side left. Yeah. Awesome.
That's funny. That's funny. Well, my dog is only coming to interrupt me 3 or 4 times. So, this is what you get when you go live.
This is from home, man. This is the new normal. And that's just it. It's the new normal. And it's something we just have to shift and roll with. If you're not rolling, you're stuck.
I love it. It is real. I love it.
Yeah.
We are news anchors and they're going through the same thing, as they're doing stuff.
Yes.
Even the weather from their living room. It's okay. There's something beautiful about it. So
yeah, there's something that connects us all, and it's our living room.
messes and all. That's just how it is. Thank you so much, Cristy. I really appreciate it. And you and I will be talking later. People go to CristyNix.com, learn a little bit more about yourself.
Thanks for having me.
Talk to you later. You're welcome.
All right.
Thanks for
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.